Welcome back Top Manhua Review Channel. If you're watching the video, please give us a like, share, comment and subscribe channel. Also, don't forget to hit bell to get notified the latest videos. The Eternal Legend Story. Episode 383. Li Yunxiao's face softened a little, showing an expression of pain as he said, "However, old man, we cannot. You can't just wait to die like this. You are a 9th rank cultivation master of the sacred realm. If you can compensate me for my losses, then I'm willing to offer the soul-devouring scroll. Anyway, I know which is more important." Han, stunned, immediately rejoiced. As long as he could get the soul-devouring scroll, everyone could escape safe. Everyone could escape this place safe. What do you want? Just say it. Li Yu looked at him, puzzled. Is it really that serious? Han was about to respond when he suddenly realized that the person in front of him wasn't as simple as he thought. He immediately stopped, his expression turning serious. Furrowing his brow, he said, "First, tell me what you want." Li Yu flashed your innocent smile. It was lost like the soul-devouring mirror. It's an irreplaceable loss, especially since this is the golden soul. No, the relationship, you understand that too. So no matter what compensation is off, it won't be enough for me, will it? Elder Han. Han furrowed his brows and slightly nodded, clearly agreeing with his words. Furthermore, Li Yunxiao took a deep breath and sighed. Although I've interacted with cross time and space, I feel there's been a slight misunderstanding between us. Even if I escape from here, I wouldn't dare to go to the sacred realm with you to claim compensation. The worse the job is done, greater the loss. You agree, don't you? Elder Han. He coldly harummed. What do you mean by misunderstanding? You, Li Yunxiao, just wave your hand, cutting him off. Alright. A few words of misunderstanding can't explain it all. Anyway, the situation is like this. I absolutely cannot take the soul guard pill. It won't work. Fine. Then you use 100 ancient scriptures of your choice to exchange with me for the Ji Jing. Ancient texts. Why are there hundreds of stars? Yuan Gao Han, on the contrary, took a deep breath. His face changed dramatically, angrily wanting to curse the whole family. Old house, what do you think the ancient texts are? Do you think they are like small yellow books that are scattered all over the road, easily taken? Are there a few hundred or more than 1,000 characters? Li Van was embarrassed, stammered. Then what do you say? How much we have sacrificed, our entire golden soul. You explain these scriptures to no avail. Doesn't harm you in the slightest. No one gains or loses, only you should reflect. If not, then we need not discuss it further. Wait the starlight and the dissolution of your eightfold soul to let your true form. Meditate on the ancient scriptures when the time comes. That could even return to the 9th grade star and stabilize peak star's complexion. Han Yuan's face immediately became unsightly. Those words of Li Yunxiao all hit his weak points. The opponent, a mere soul-devouring clan under dying, wouldn't be a big deal. But I'm different. I am a 9th grade refinement master of the sacred realm. How could he easily give up his life? His complexion, the Han Yuan pill, sometimes white, sometimes green, spiraling, nearly at peak brilliance. His soul and body eightfold. No matter what, he could ignore it. Otherwise, his cultivation would forever regress. An 8th grade alchemist like him couldn't possibly accept, but revealing the profound meaning the ancient scriptures. It's a serious crime. Once discovered by the sacred realm, even he would find it hard to bear the consequences. Li Yunxiao's heart stirred slightly, as if guessing his predicament. He tentatively probed. The High Elder's eyes showed fear. His expression was extremely brave. He gritted his teeth and said, "Other conditions, other things, I can all fulfill. Although you are at the 9th level of found chi, you can immediately stop what he says. You just see." Li Yunxiao spit out a small crossbow and gently stroke it in his hand. With his gaze, it's obvious this is a 9th level profound chi, and moreover, it's not an ordinary profound chi. This crossbow has a powerful cold aura with a wide open mouth. His eyes shot out a dazzling light. Old man Li's expression wanted to hit someone. He turned to ask Xian Qijio, "What the hell is this thing? Is it worth anything?" This made High Official Han's face look like been slapped. He was speechless. Compared to him, it's enough to make one die of anger. High Official Han's throat felt dry. After a moment, he shook his head. His expression was gloomy. He was silent for a while. In the end, I made up my mind and gritted my teeth. I can't pass on to you the meaning of a written character, but you must understand that it must never be passed on to us, not even a single word. A layer of determination appeared on Li Yun's face, and he shouted softly, "The light, the golden-colored soul servant, and my cultivation must also be given to you. Tell me, what is the ancient scripture? It's a waste that you even said that. You still need your face. It doesn't matter anyway. I, as your slave, don't want to live anymore. Everyone, let die together." High Priest Han. Han was astonished, speechless. From what he saw, the revelation of the profound meaning of an ancient scripture was already a grave offense. The other party didn't even care. But on reflection, there is some truth to what you're saying. The soul-devouring clan lost, and the soul slaves are no different from him falling to the 8th tier. In that case, the two high-grade pills. Gao Han gritted his teeth and gathered his courage, extending 2 fingers, his arms trembling. Li Yunxiao spoke determined expression and coldly shouted, "Not a single one can be missing." 2 high-grade pills made Gao Han's eyes. His eyes bulged, his face flushed crimson, his very soul aflame. He screamed, "A sound I knew. Only about 20 people withstand. Successive. Do you think this is just any object? These are scriptures, handed down from ancient times. Each one contains rules that can be studied a lifetime. Understanding even one or two would bring countless benefits. Li Yunxiao said coldly. You ask like that. How many pills do you know? Han, furious, softly said, I know a few. That concern you. At most, a few. 3, no more. If not, we'll die together. He was so angry. His whole body was trembling. His eyes flickered uncertainly, consuming immense energy. Li Yunxiao saw his appearance. It was no different than the limit. Only now is it difficult to speak. And those three are truly it. I wasn't forced to a desperate situation. I wouldn't have filled your request. He currently holds a total of only 7. Adding these 3 more only makes 10. But even so, my understanding of this type of script might reach a new height that even Han Yuan-Gao himself only grasped 4.5. The 5th one is still vague and unclear. If he knew that Li Yunxiao already possessed 7, he would probably want to kill someone first. For me, Manhua seemed to fear Li Yunxiao. Changing his mind, Han Yuan-Gao immediately wanted to obtain Manhua first. Moreover, his attitude was extremely firm, determined not to yield an inch. Li Yun, even if it means defaults on the debt, I don't care. I'll directly give him the devouring soul scroll as a soul slave. Furthermore, I won't be able to cultivate this technique after this. The devouring soul scroll is useless to me, so I'm giving it to you. Yuan Han coldly snorted. Only a ghost want your devouring soul scroll. Yuan Han refused, investigating the inside of fruit with his divine senses. Naturally, Kim Sak's soul power is more than enough, fully sufficient, not bad at all. Only then did he feel at ease again, noticing the calm expression of Li Vantu, which struck him as somewhat strange. Unable to hold back, he asked, now that you've lost the soul-devouring blade, how do you plan to cultivate? What's your approach to soul fusion cultivation? That seems like best choice. Li Vantu couldn't help speak up. What does this have to do with you holding the palm? Now, you're wasting time teaching me these ancient scriptures. Shangua Yuan-Gao Han lightly nodded. He was also a person of his word, cautious in every detail. Each step was meticulous as he controlled the soul-devouring fan. A helpless look appeared on his face as he sighed. Quite long. It's only just starting to explain now. The Lalich classics of ancient times can no longer be researched, because the shade is more like a tadpole, and furthermore, when it emits power of the golden rule, it shines dazzlingly. So many places also call it Hua Dao, a term referring to difficult to decipher texts. The number of existing Kim Van gold script classics is limited, and furthermore, very few people have the ability, the force to study them. These foundations, Li Vantu also knows, but this time he did not interrupt, letting him speak little by little. The Han Gao pill continued. In fact, the Saint Realm and the Spirit Transformation may have started process long ago. They have been collecting and categorizing these texts. They have done research, but it's quite unfortunate. That is, even though there are cultivation masters who may possess some of these texts, there's no good method to pass them down. In other words, these texts cannot be preserved. Therefore, even in the sacred realm and the transforming God sea, those who possess them are not many. Li Yunxiao suddenly asked, in total, how many of these texts are there? How many have you ever dominated? The tall Han frowned, thinking for a while before opening his mouth and saying, could be more than 1,000. Over 1,000. Li Vantu suddenly came startled, almost jumping in shock, unable to believe how could it be so many. The hidden rule of power within this type writing is extremely powerful. I've learned a few things that have benefited me great, and if it's more than one thing, I can grasp them all. Then he wouldn't even dare to imagine. Han Yuan also showed a bitter smile. Seeing through his thoughts, he shook his head. Don't think about these things. They shouldn't even exist. Later generations shouldn't be, so we common folk can only dream. Yuan Gao Han regained his composure. He spoke again. Next, I will teach you 3 ancient scriptures. Listen carefully. The content is important. I will only explain it once and demonstrate it only once. I say I will teach, but I cannot guarantee I can definitely teach you. Perhaps with your aptitude, you won't learn it in a lifetime. Also, perhaps after he finished speaking, he also paused for a moment, considering Li Yunxiao's innate talent. Goodness, these words he spoke, even he himself didn't believe. Li Yunxiao remained silent. The scriptures in the several books he had learned combined only amounted to a few hundred characters, many of which were repeated. It seemed that this world might still the other great divine decisions that exist want to fully comprehend. He doesn't know it can be achieved in this lifetime. Li Vantu didn't respond, but entered a state of peak condition, beginning to focus and listen to Vien Chao Han's explanation. This was the first time he heard someone else teach him something like this. Previously, it had always been understanding it on my own. The difference between the two will definitely be enormous. Elder Han's understanding within the sacred domain, having read through countless texts from previous generations in all aspects, had advantages and unique explanations, causing Li Yun to feel extremely joyful, and he continuously raised various questions, leading Elder Han to be equally amazed. He was astonished. Naturally, he felt much more terrified. The issue was something even Chao Han himself hadn't thought about. After being pointed out by Li Vantu, he fell into into a deep reflection. After listening a bit, he went from initially being an explainer to eventually having a discussion with the other person. Chao Han also went from his initial shock to they adapted slowly, just like two old friends studying together, both achieving no small benefit. His knowledge of the 5 classics was only superficial. Through constantly discussing with each other, he received great inspiration, becoming clearer and more open-minded. The harvest of Li Yunxiao was even greater. The 3 texts came even clearer. It seems to exist extremely normally. In the divine arts he has seen, they all appeared immediately, leading to a deeper understanding of those divine arts. Various doubts were started and suddenly cleared up in his mind. Gradually it became clear, although only 3 words. The research and understanding that arose were immense. Together, endlessly, 2 of you like this, wandering, falling, sitting in the golden sand. You said a word, I, a sentence, both discussing and exploring. Finally, after thoroughly understanding those 3 words of that scripture, even Yuan Gao Han didn't say another word, although he also received great benefit thinking of me arbitrarily imparting the profound meaning of the scripture. Van Thuong Ko still felt extremely fearful. Lai Van Tu really couldn't extract anything more. At this point, he finally gave up and sat down in a cross-legged position. He began to meditate, trying to understand. Didn't know how much time had passed. Finally, he had completely comprehended the meaning of the high-level concept. On the side, Chao Han, seeing this, was secretly shocked, especially by the look of realization on Lai Van Tu's face. This only made him feel even more terrified. My father, after learning these 3 characters, also used them. For over 10 years, he forcefully suppressed his emotions. In his heart, he said to the young man, although I don't know your name, would you be willing to join the sacred realm? I dare to guarantee that, as long as you're willing, all the resources you'll gain will be many times more than what you have now. Li only wants to let him ramble as much as possible. Li Yunxiao chuckled, his heart filled with satisfaction. First, he should escape this ghostly place. We'll talk later. If he can't get out, then what point of talking now? Even Gao Han wouldn't know his intentions, let alone continue talking. Furthermore, the soul devourer, your current array will be destroyed soon. Even the devouring soul clan can't cultivate it to the highest level. Just come with me to the sacred realm. You will definitely get stronger soul battle techniques. I'll let you choose. I will carefully consider. Old man, let's start breaking the formation. Li Yunxiao, hurry up. He spoke without showing any emotion on his face, as if weighing the pros and cons of the Han dynasty's high-ranking official. Lightly said, such talent, if he cannot exert himself in the sacred realm, then he cannot be an enemy. Even at a critical moment, he needs to be directly contacted and the sacred realm discarded. Although outwardly he rules the world, his various secret actions are not few. Regretfully, I hope you can think carefully. After speaking, the elder Chao Han immediately took out the soul-devouring seal. His right hand pointed, and the seal constantly changed, casting the original runes into it. Soon, the soul-devouring seal emitted a brilliant light. He shouted loudly and soared into the air, immediately welcoming the wind as his pupils. Lai Van Tu slightly shrank back just now, as Han used the high pill technique. It really is the way of the soul-devouring lotus. It seems he has quite a bit of research into the soul-devouring clan's techniques. The soul-devouring lotus fluttered in the air, its golden light shining like the sun, casting a faint, warm glow across the world. A cluster of souls appeared in the human heart. The golden streak slowly flew out from within. Its expression became somewhat dull and confused. Looking around in a daze, the high-ranking Han, you ask what happened to the golden soul serpent, seems to have lost its intelligence. Why? Lai Van Tu knew clearly that this was because Zhang Tu Thian had died, and the soul servant had lost its master, thus causing its loss of spirit. That scatterbrained woman said I used secret methods to advance to golden core. If it weren't for the strength of 4-star martial grandmaster, do you think you could refine my essence into a 9th grade golden core soul slave? Han pondered for a moment, finding it reasonable. Initially, he found it strange the other party only possessed the strength of a 4-star martial grandmaster, and there's a 9th grade devouring soul. Looking at its appearance, doesn't seem very powerful. He began to secretly regret being threatened in revealing so many valuable things by the opponent. If only, but now isn't the time to talk about this. He shouted loudly, forming an ancient and strange hand seal. A golden dowan shone. Now, in his powerful hand, he grasps the golden-colored soul slave Hua Dao Van Kim. This color is indeed one of the 3 passed down to Lai Van Tu. Represent power of rules. Very strong. Han is using it with exceptional ease and success. Clearly, he's extremely familiar with this sealing technique. The soul slave's face is dazed, struck within their body. That Kim Kwang immediately dissolved into quench, spreading throughout his body, causing the original light yellow color to turn into the soil color. Golden soul servant, who immediately screamed in agony. The sound of the scream was like a dog being squeezed into a pulp, causing anyone who heard it to feel goosebumps all over their body. In Li Yun's eyes, there was a look of confusion, and he too. It's not very clear what Han Yuan wants to do. Look at him. He seems very excited. He's not acting like a pervert who enjoys abusing people. You must be very strange. What do I want to do? too. Han Yuan looked smug. He suddenly realized he could make Li Yunxiao unknowingly follow his acts. It felt very good. Joyful achievements, laughter. I want to eradicate. To fade this enslaved soul. Reverse refinement will transform into primordial spirit power. Li Yunxiao was shocked and frightened. He said, reverse refinement. Could it be that great person? Li Yunxiao's expression was uncertain. Indeed, he said nothing more, but his eyes became solemn. More important than so-called refinement is the reverse process, the inversion. Reversing the alchemy process has been a problem for alchemy to this day. For example, an alchemist refines 18 materials into a magic sword but cannot return that sword to the 18 original materials. Therefore, the art cultivation world still firmly believes that cultivation techniques cannot be reversed. They can't be changed. Throughout history, there has been no shortage of exceptional geniuses. There are still many cultivation masters who are extremely interested in reverse refinement techniques. Furthermore, in the long and boring 5,000 years, I've accumulated a lot of materials. Although reverse refining hasn't been fully realized yet, I haven't completely achieved yet. Through research, it has had a significant impact on the development of the refinement Tao. Furthermore, I have created many techniques and secret methods of monsters. The current Han Yuan pill is precisely a type in which, moreover, Deng directly inputted ancient golden text into the method. One could see he had, in this field, achieved very profound results. The golden soul slave on the upper platform, after a pitiful wail in pain, its voice gradually weakened. A pale yellow light emanated from within. The devouring soul slave, as it gradually lost its form, become a pure energy mass. Li Yunxiao felt a slight chill in his heart. This reverse refining secret technique could refine a soul slave. Then, what about an ordinary person's soul? Could it also be direct refined into a mass of energy? Possible. Then wouldn't that be the same as self-destruction? Directly refining it into a mass of energy? If it were possible, then what would be the difference from self-destruction? So the soul-devouring clans Dan are all refined from souls, then absorbing the power within. Seeing that energy mass, Han felt a strange radiance in his eyes. This energy is too impure, too unrefined, unsuitable for absorption. However, I can't worry about that now. For now, let's go down first. I'll deal with later. This energy surge might be able to break through to the 9-layered soul body. Breaking the seal here, he yelled, his whole body leaping from the ground, charging towards that soul slave, which had completely become a mass of energy falling towards him. The two immediately merged together. Han Yuan's body surrounded by energy. Pale yellow surrounds the air, still like a garment. Outside, a membrane of condensed water encases, covering your body from afar. Let me see if I can break the seal here. Han Yuan felt a surge of soul power supplementing him. Immediate, his aura roared. He laughed loudly. Then his whole body didn't fly up. Only a golden light was seen, like smoke and fire shooting into the sky. Instant, a huge expanse of golden light spread out above, condensing into a large sea. It stagnated for half a moment before roaring down. This superior technique had no frills or embellishments, but was the most basic of a cultivator's superior techniques. With the powerful force martial artists use, their vital energy condenses this kind of powerful stick. This is completely reliant on the condensation of spiritual power. It uses spiritual power to suppress and twist space, thus creating destruction. This powerful inherent force itself does not carry much destructive power. Many cultivation masters with weak abilities prefer use a simple method of attack. Can Lai Van Tu feel it? The space around him begins to shrink under the sea. His force compressing him. Power pressure is bearing down on him. A hint of golden light from his will appears. The oppressive force immediately retreats. The sky full of gold surges. This moment, at the center of the imprint, everything around appears distorted like a mirror. It is continuously changing shape, with areas in the space rapidly disappearing beneath a strike, and the surrounding scenery must change. A shockwave in space. From the area nearby where the two are standing, 7 huge stone pillars rise continuously. High up on these stone pillars, various carvings, all sorts of patterns, and even huge chains connect the 7 pillars together. In the process of constantly rising, they emitted a booming, resonant sound. Both of them were frightened by this transformation, and they instinctively retreated, but this only made them stare wide-eyed. The central stone pillar. Those 7 gigantic stone pillars stood firm, a tall tower stretching to the horizon. 7 stone pillars were already large enough, but in front of tall tower, they were merely a protective ring. This transformation was simply generated in a few breaths, causing the two to widen their eyes and gaze. Li Yunxiao and the high priest Han were considered. They have vast knowledge, but in this moment, the towering spires and stone columns still bring them a feeling of extreme shock, even causing no one to dare look directly at. Two stood there in a daze for a short while before slowly regaining their composure. At this point, Gao Han swallowed a mouthful of water and with difficulty said, "What is this thing?" Li Van glanced the old Vien Nua. "What's wrong? Seems that instead of escaping this time-space, we're sinking deeper into it. Should we ask you to return the money to my golden soul slave? Don't you think, Vien Chao, that Han's flowing water is none of my business? I have truly broken the previous this prohibition. And even at this moment, your mind is still focused on these things. You're too vulgar. First of all, look at what's happening here. Gao Han raised his head, feeling his scalp tingle. The sinister energy rising from within filled him with a deep sense of fear. Li Yunxiao was still better off, having experienced this or past many high-ranking officials. After quickly recovering from his shock, he circled the giant tower once, then returned to his previous spot and said, this illusion, this space itself, highly likely that it exists because of the ancient tower's seal. Han was extremely frightened and shocked. He spoke, his breath hitched. From the top tower emits a 9-rank aura. Not only this tower, but also those 7 pillars possess a 9-rank aura. Furthermore, their ends connect, forming an inner array with evil energy. Anyone approaching feels their whole body shiver. Li Yunxiao's expression becomes even more serious. He discovered that 4 sides of the ancient tower are swirling around an array of even more energy, constantly increasing. It's truly the black demonic energy of Li Yunxiao. Swallowing his saliva, Ning Chong said, we might caused a huge problem. Let's hurry and see if there's a way out. If my guess is wrong, then inside this ancient tower, certainly it has suppressed an extremely powerful character. Moreover, look at these demonic energies now. They seem to be accumulating more and more, gathering strength bit by bit. These demonic energies, even Yuan Gao Han is shaken and terrified. He stares at the black energy, his expression even uglier than Li Yun's. Tao Shifan can't believe it and says in shock, demonic energy? How is that possible in the heavenly martial realm? How can there be demonic energy? Li Yunxiao, he was slightly moved inwardly and softly asked, do you know anything about this, Elder Han? Elder Han turned his head, gave him a look, and spoke with distress. What else is there to know? Demons were the most powerful race during the ancient era. They were buried and lost to the river of history, just like those divine spirits. Now they are completely gone. I can't see any divine spirits anymore. Countless times. Don't tell me that today we're about to encounter a ghost. Lai Van Tu, didn't he say he saw divine spirit of the surprised fish before? The high-ranking official Han Cho. Could it be that this ghost was also created by them before? Huang, the creator here doesn't just want to create a body, but even more wants to create a demon. How he feels. This thought is utterly absurd, but what is seen before their eyes has proved every. Ivan Tiao said in shock. The fish, on the contrary, really can be created, but this demon is absolute not. It is being suppressed by the powerful beings here. Just as you said, not only the ancient tower, but even the 7 stone pillars are also heavenly chi nan. Lai Van Tu stepped forward and closely examined the patterns on the pillar. Many places have been damaged, revealing the silvery white color inside, resembling some kind of metal. He stared intently at the silvery white color, falling into deep thought as if wanting to prove something. I reached out and touched kind of icy coldness that instantly spread through my bones, as if my soul was frozen. That's it for episode 383. Thank you sincerely for watching this video. See you again.